I let my children imagine a world where sharing is the most natural thing to do. This is not normally how my children dress, but this is for the occasion. Because last year we were on a trip to the midst of France, and we were making a stop at Versailles. And we were going to this house. This house we got through a home exchange. So home exchange is like way older than Airbnb, where everybody's so fond of. And it gives you the opportunity through a website or online platform to see which other people in the world want to change with you, like house or apartments. So we found this house in the midst of France, and this family which lived here changed their home with our apartment in Amsterdam. And it's a great way to become a local citizen for a few weeks in another country. And it's for free. Of course, when you go to France, in this case, you use a car. This is a car I used to own, but I let it go like 1.5 years ago. So people said, you're crazy because you're living in Amsterdam, you have 2 small children, you need a car like this. I said, no, I'm just going to tap into the sharing economy and see if I can do without. So that's what I did, and that's going really quite well. And imagine, this was my property, and this is almost the same car, but it's the property of somebody in my neighborhood. And I don't have any ballas, you say, you know, not any thing I have to pay like taxes or insurance or the garage or whatever for the car, because that's the business of the car owner now and not my business anymore. I just borrowed this car for a day from a neighbor, and afterwards I return it and I let it go again. And that's a really different way to consume a product or to use things in daily life. And this is also another opportunity like a Tesla. You can borrow any car you like in your neighborhood, from a van to a convertible to cars like these. And by the way, this is not me. My daughter saw this in the presentation. He thought, oh, it's you at the Tesla. No, it's somebody in the neighborhood, but it's also with a bald head and glasses. Anyway, this is already happening in Amsterdam. There are different car sharing platforms in Amsterdam, and one of them is already having so many cars in this city which are possible to rent from your neighbor. So this is really an evolving phenomenon. Another thing you could share is food. So I have this wonderful bit older woman in the neighborhood, Wilma, and she loves to cook. And she's living alone, and she also likes some social contact in the neighborhood. So what she does, she cooks more meals than only for herself, and she puts it on Thuis Afgehaald, a sharing economy platform for food sharing. And it means that I can see on the website today, okay, Wilma's cooking a really Dutch dish. It's called hutspot. And it's winter time, so I like hutspot. I say, okay, give me 2 meals for my family, and I let that know. She cooks, and at the end of the day, before I go from work to my home, I just drop by Wilma, and for 5-6 euros a meal, I have a really decent, freshly cooked meal from Wilma. And I make a little chat with her, she's happy, I'm happy, and I'm going home with a really nice meal for my family. So that's a great other way to tap into the sharing economy. And imagine how many so-called home cooks are already working. It's not working, but experience this in the sharing economy by cooking a meal for other people. So there's really one in your neighborhood too. And so you can see these are just some examples from my personal life, but there are really a lot of things already able to be shared. And it's in all kinds of areas. Also like with money and in healthcare. I will give you a lot more examples to let you experience what the sharing economy is all about. So let's do so. And these are all the platforms that are making it happen. At least these are a few of them, because of course there are more. These are the entrepreneurs. Mostly of them are Dutch. Some of them, like Airbnb and Uber, are not Dutch. They're from San Francisco, and they're a lot in the media right now. And these platforms, these entrepreneurs, make it possible for you to have like a whole different way of consuming by sharing. And this, and you probably recognize the 3 letters behind her, is one of the persons it all started with for a lot of people. So if afterwards, after this talk, you might be a bit more interested in the sharing economy, first I would recommend try it yourself, of course, but secondly, look up her TED Talk, because Rachel Botsman already in 2010 wrote a book about it, and it's really inspirational, and she did also some really inspirational TED Talks, so look her up, Rachel Botsman. I will give you a little bit of theory about the sharing economy, because one of the most important things in the sharing economy is that we're going from ownership to access. So you see all these drills here. They say, I don't need a drill, I need a hole in the wall. And that's exactly how it is. If I want to have a hole in the wall because I want to hang up a painting or something, I don't really need to own that drill. Probably for a lot of people here in the audience goes that you don't have a drill yourself, but you can borrow it from a neighbor. You only have to know which neighbor has it and where you can borrow it. And that's of course possible by these apps and websites. So you're going from ownership to access to this drill. Another important thing is the idling capacity. We all know these parking lots, but we also know just the streets here. And you know that there are always cars parked outside. So that means we could make better use of all the cars just standing still. And the average car is standing still 90% of the time. So that means we could share. And of course, what I already mentioned before, really important to make this phenomenon so big is technology. Because through technology, we have, with your iPhone, for example, or other phone, you have like a remote control for your life. So I'm living here in Amsterdam and you have all these apartments. And in a way, I just have a remote control to see what is all be able to be shared. You know, like stuff, the drills, the cars, the food, etc. So it makes it really easy. And another important thing, of course, is trust. Because if you don't trust your neighbor, you're not going to lend him your drill or your car even. And of course, there are insurance companies to help a little in this, but of course, it's really important to be able to trust each other. And what also helps in this is, of course, the reviews. We all know the reviews. And if you know that I lent your car and I was a good driver and I gave you back your car in a good manner, maybe even thanked you with a bottle of wine for it or whatever, yeah, it's all being seen on the website through a review. So that helps, of course, in trust. They even say, that's also a quote of Rachel Botsman, that trust might even be the new currency of the sharing economy. And so we're going really from this old to a new world. You know, you see everybody in his own car or in his own product, me, 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 me. Well, there's a new possibility to share stuff. And just to show you how fast it can go in different industries, we also saw the music industry, the records, we went to CDs, we went to iTunes, and we're now all tapping into Spotify, for example. And we also have access to music instead of owning it. And a lot of users are using it already, and it's growing and it's growing. And the same goes for the telecom industry. I mean, we had SMS, and there comes a little company, a small company from San Francisco, with at the highest peak maybe 50 persons, and they introduced WhatsApp, and they are really a big competitor now, of course, for the big telephone companies. So I just want to show you how fast it can go if there are new startups in a new field, having a service that's really attractive to a big number of users. And in this way, with all these examples, and I will give you some more, there is arising a new consumer. A consumer that is a seller. I mean, Marktplaats, for example, or other stuff. Hotelier with Airbnb, which we're going to tap into later. A teacher. A lender through crowdfunding platforms. An operator of transport even, by different carpooling, ride-sharing apps, or even Uberpop. And a producer or a manufacturer, for example, through 3D printing. So there are a whole new roles for a consumer that is really showing that there's a new era going on. This is a visual of a research we did with ShareNL like last year in Amsterdam, and it shows that 84% of the Amsterdammer, the Amsterdam citizen, is willing to tap into the sharing economy. So that says something, I think. And there are three motives for people to tap into the sharing economy. One is the social one, to help each other out, or to get to know new people in the neighborhood. The second one is the sustainable one. I mean, if I sell my car and I use cars in the neighborhood, that's gonna be a smaller footprint of me on the earth. And three is, of course, saving money, or even earning money. And of course, with the financial crisis, this has been an extra push for the sharing economy. In Amsterdam, that's nice just to mention shortly, is that we're moving to a sharing city. So the city also sees that a lot of its citizens are tapping into the sharing economy. And they say, okay, let's see if our rules still fit for this new field and for the new use of products and services within our city. So they're really opening a view, and probably they're going to become a sharing city, as we call it, in a few weeks. This is, of course, one of the poster childs right now from the sharing economy, Airbnb. I think a lot of people here in the audience will know it. It started in 2008 with a great name, if I may say, because the name is from like Air, Bed and Breakfast, and that became Airbnb because a few guys in San Francisco thought, hey, there's a big conference going on in our city, but the hotels are all full or really expensive. So why not buy some airbeds and use our couches in our home, in our student home, and put them on the internet and see if we can make a little money. And that was the start of Airbnb in 2008. And now it's 2014, and they're worth billions of dollars with loads of users all over the world. People are all making it possible for other guests to stay into their houses for a few days or a few weeks. And there are even 600 castles for who's interested. PRB, an Amsterdam initiative about to conquer the world, making it possible to lend each other's drill or any other product you could imagine. You just put it on the website, you say, okay, I need a drill, this is why and why, and it goes scanning in your neighborhood. And if somebody else said, hey, I got this drill, you can borrow it for free because there's no money involved in this PRB initiative. You can borrow it, and a few days later you bring it back. And imagine just a part of Amsterdam where I live, how many people are already using PRB to lend stuff from each other. That's great. And they're now going to 50 cities in the United States to expand also there. Another example, skill sharing. I mean, we're at this school here, so you can, of course, also share skills. Somebody who was really good in Spanish and somebody else who was really good in cooking Thai, for example, put it on the website, learn each other something. Every neighborhood can become a big university. Boat sharing, of course, we're in Amsterdam, we have a lot of canals, we have a lot of boats, so why not go boat sharing? One of the newest initiatives in Amsterdam, there are two, by the way, is about boat sharing. They're there, and like the cars, they're just laying there in the water for most of the time, so why not share them and get a little money out of it? Also a nice Dutch example, park fly rent. Normally, maybe you would go by car to Schiphol, the airport, and put your car there for 2 weeks because you're going on a holiday. Now they say, okay, while you're away on holiday, we try to rent out your car. And you get even money from it. So easy. Energy, also a Dutch initiative. Why use all the big energy companies? Well, we can get it straight from the farmer, from the ones who have this big pole there in the garden, in the yard. And asset sharing, because of course for businesses also there are lots of opportunities to share. They have buildings, they have like big machines, they have cars, they have even personnel you could share. So there's a Dutch sharing initiative that makes it possible between companies also to share. And this is also a way to tap into the sharing economy by a big company. So you have the producer of Mercedes-Benz, which is also the producer of Smart, and they, a few years ago, they said, okay, why not put like 300 smarts, electric smarts in the city of Amsterdam? And you can use them only by opening the car with your phone. You drive through the city, and at the point B where you arrived, you just park the car there, you don't have to bring it back, you just can leave it over there. And that's also a way to make use of this new sharing economy. And the nice thing is, they're everywhere. And you can see it on your iPhone, where in your street is a car to go, and you open it, you drive away, and you let it go again. And it's nice because lately I was in Rome to do a presentation over there, and what you see, they have the same cars over there. And I can also just get into the car over there too, with the same pass or the same phone. That makes it really easy. And this was also in Rome, but this is a bit the old world maybe. But I like 2 other small cars. And another nice example is ride sharing. And this may be also interesting for you, because maybe you're on a tight budget, but you want to conquer the world. So why not go to Paris? I mean, I have to be there in 2 days. I'm this time going by train, so I can work a little. But you can also go through BlaBlaCar. It's a French company, but also active in the Netherlands and in other places in Europe. And it makes it possible to just share the ride, carpool with each other. And you're in Paris for 35 euros. I mean, that's cheap. Maybe something for you to test. And one nice thing about the name, because it's called BlaBlaCar, you can say how many blah blah you want during the ride. So if you're not so talkative, you say, okay, blah. If you like sometimes to talk with the driver, you say, okay, blah blah. And if you're really happy to talk 5 hours during the ride from Amsterdam to Paris, you say, I want blah blah blah. I just want to close this talk with one of my daughters. And just recently, I went with her to a swimming lesson. And you enter this building, and you always smell this really, chlorine smell, you know. So you really smell the swimming pool, of course. So I just asked her, okay, so Nanu, what do you smell? And she said, yeah, I smell my swimming lessons. I said, wow, that's cool. So she doesn't smell the chlorine, she doesn't smell the swimming pool, no, she smells the experience of swimming. And I thought, this is so beautiful. This is what I would like to share with you, that if you want to tap into the sharing economy, please, it should be the most normal thing to do in the world. So I gave you a lot of examples. Feel free to share and to test them and experience it, because that was the metaphor I made with what she said about smelling the swimming lessons. It's not that you want a car, no. You want to drive to your friends to have a nice weekend. You don't want a hotel, no, you want to feel home, away from home. So I would recommend experience the sharing economy yourself. And I think the sharing economy is the future. And the sharing economy is your future. Thank you.